Hi Aquarius, and welcome to your September general reading. So let me just for a minute, we pulled one Lenormand card before we do the reading, and you got the Lady card. So the Lady card, it's a card of waiting, but we're waiting on some sort of arrival, but we know the person's coming. You know that thing, there's waiting that's a challenge and waiting that's very you're just waiting on this, almost like the Wheel of Fortune. You're waiting on something to arrive. But as I said before, this isn't waiting that's depression or waiting that's a feeling of emptiness, but there's definitely this sense of being very, very ready and looking out the window, just expecting the arrival of something. Now, I'm always a little bit confused when I pull that card, but when it shows up, it's already happening. So I guess that's what I'm trying to say. Everything's already set in motion, but we're still a little bit, tiny bit in that gap. I know that makes sense for someone, but with the Lady card, we're all sort of dressed. We're all sort of very, a bit like the Empress, very beautified, very filled up, so not feeling that we're running on empty, that life's not working. So it's a very, very big card about prosperity, but especially prosperity around matters of the heart, creativity, that sort of issue. But let me find out what else is going on. So please give me clear-cut messages for the sign of Aquarius for September 2020. The Knight of Wands, yeah, with the Moon cards. The Knight of Wands is a very fast-moving, very dynamic knight. That very action-orientated, and it's with the Moon. She's a very, very strange combination of cards. Can I pull the rest of the deck? Because what you want is a Chariot. So again, there's an awful lot of movement. The gift is the Five of Pentacles. So because it's the gift, this is the healing of some sort of gap. It could be a relational gap. It could be about finances. Some sort of divide. It's almost like a bridge is being crossed. The challenge is our own card. Okay. Relationships. You get the Six of Wands. Absolutely love the Six of Wands. Because to understand the Six of Wands, we need to look at the card before, Five of Wands, which is always about struggle. You know, it's actually like the Five of Wands because it creates great change. But by the time we get to the Six, the challenge has been overcome. Maybe that's where the Five of Pentacles is the gift. It's a healing of some sort of division. What's going on in our finances? Yes, Four of Wands. King of Pentacles at a soul level. Outcome, we get the Justice card, which is Libra. Anything more about the Justice card? It's a very interesting. I love this deck. The only card that I don't read the way that I generally read it is the Justice card, because the Justice card is about reaping. It's harvest time. It's about what you want manifesting. If you think about it, the tarot represents natural law. The farmer's been farming all year. And then Libra season is when we harvest every single thing that we've waited, we've endured, we've worked hard. And then Libra is when we harvest the results of that. In this deck, the card's got a blindfold. which does represent the law of karma. Essentially, if we plant the seeds, we get the growth. Yeah. I'm going to see if I always need to clarify this Justice card. Okay, it's with the Ace of Swords. Beautiful. Sight, clarity, vision, knowing what's what. It's about clarity. So I'm getting a couple of different pictures. There's a great resolve going on within a relationship dynamic, Aquarius. Love it. Love it. And I would really equally argue there's something to celebrate around your financial life. Behind you, so this will be the last week of August. So these will be out before the last week of August. So I'm going to try and make sense of these cards. These are almost two opposing principles. Yeah. This is about action and non-action. Knight of Wands with the Moon card. I mean, yin and yang, but the Knight of Wands is a very dynamic energy. It's a yes energy. It's almost like I'm coming, a bit like the Lady, but with the Moon tends to be a card of non-action. And these could also represent that Lady card. Like some of you are waiting on this action. Some of you are waiting on this energy to come your way. That's very, very dynamic. Quite often can be very sexual because all the fire elements are. But the energy of passion, enthusiasm, like the rider, the new beginnings. But with the Moon card, it's almost really strange, Aquarius. It's almost happening, but not quite yet. No, you're not allowed to shout at me. That's the only way to read these two cards. The Moon's always a great period of the unknown. It's night time. We're not illuminated. And this Knight of Wands is as fast as, it's like I'm coming. But then with a non-action card. Anyhow, what you want is a Chariot card, which is movement. Both of these cards represent Cancer. So Cancer, I mean, all the water signs tend to be very, very relational. They're about connection. So this could be a matter around a home. It could be around, obviously, around love, around moving forward, being cared for, commitment. But there's definitely a desire here to move things forward. Now, the gift of the Five of Pentacles, I really love the Five of Pentacles as a gift because the Five of Pentacles is like, I call it the wound of separation. And I know that sounds a little bit extreme, Aquarius, but don't forget I do a lot of, the link to my website's below, but I do an awful lot of psychotherapy, counselling work where I use a lot of archetypes. So the Five of Pentacles is about a wall that has separated you from someone else. Yeah? It's traditionally read as financial difficulties. But because it's the wound, it's the gift, I'm believing those financial difficulties might be coming to an end and there's news to celebrate. I think there's a lot more of it going on. I think if you look at it, this is about two people who have been separate from each other. It's almost like polarized or just not connecting. And because the Six of Wands is showing up for your relationship card, it looks like the struggle and the division has been overcome and the walls are beginning to dissolve. Yeah? Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Now, the challenge is a Star card, which is about faith. It's also, Aquarius, about letting down your guard. Yeah? Transparency. Because we cannot be in a relationship unless we're transparent. Yeah? That's really, really not what an Aquarius is about. And I don't even know if Aquarius, we could handle relationships that are based on ducking and diving and hiding who we truly are. Because a lot of us swap authenticity for safety. That's not what an Aquarius is about. So the Star card as a challenge, I think, might be about having faith, might be. But it's also about sharing, being open, revealing the truth, being genuine. So tell me why the Star card is a challenge. One card, please. Ten of Swords. So Ten of Swords is a conclusion card. Yeah, it means a whole cycle has ended. It's also a card about letting go, jumping off the cliff, because it's about taking risks in a certain sense to me. I don't read it the way that other people read it, but by the Ten of Swords has came, all the tensions ended. It's almost like the Fool, when we're ready to set sail in a brand new chapter of our lives. Okay, it's how I read the Ten of Swords card. Sometimes it obviously depends what's going on for the person, but to me it tends to be, oh my gosh, I have just got to take this leap of faith, rather than being stuck in the known, but being unhappy, being repressed. Yeah, keeping a light under the bush. That's how I read the Ten of Swords. Every reader reads it differently. But this is a little bit of a challenge. So maybe for some Aquarius, there's a little bit of issue about trust, maybe. Trusting, will it really, really happen? Especially with that Knight of Wands with the Moon card. It's this pioneering energy combined with this need to keep yourself safe. Because the Moon is a crab. It's also Cancer, it's the crab. And the crab withdraws in order to keep its sense of safety. And the Star card with the Ten of Swords is about taking this leap of faith, opening up, sharing your light, sharing your wisdom, sharing, taking risks at love. Because love takes tremendous risk. Yeah. But it's almost like you're hungry for it, Aquarius. Anyhow, let me carry on. I feel like I'm rambling. The Six of Wands, there's been some sort of victory. So the relationship energy is... The Five of Wands is the card before. It always is a huge struggle, the Five of Wands. I almost think it's one of the hardest struggle cards, because the head and heart is going in two separate directions with the Five of Wands. And it's an incredible tension, but the resistance to making change. By the time the Six of Wands comes, the resistance is over. It's velour, it's victory over that part of us that doesn't take risks, that wants to keep safe. And it's this very dynamic energy about saying yes to life. And that's your relationship energy. So it's really, really pretty wonderful. Especially with the Five of Wands as the gift, which means that separation. Maybe you've been in a little bit of tension with someone. Maybe relationship dynamics have been incredibly challenging, because I think they probably have for most people. Because the way that we're evolving is through our relationships. That's where most of us see our challenges. And the fact that some huge thing has been overcome here. Now, money and work, you've got the Four of Wands. Four of Wands is a fantastic card. It's about celebration. Again, there's been a shift here. Because if you look, there's a dragonfly there. And a dragonfly has made some sort of transformation. And this is them coming to land. This is them coming to land and building a new structure, because the fours always represent structure. So it can be moving house, starting a new job. But it's almost Aquarius, you've got a classic reading where the last, probably, I would say the last few months, definitely, I think maybe even longer, it's almost like a lot of your energies are coming out the other side. So the dragonfly once lived one way, and then he went through a metamorphosis and he changed himself, and that's what the Four of Wands is a celebration. There's stability, there's some security. This could be changing job, buying a new house, moving house, starting a new business, that sort of thing, okay? So the King of Pentacles at a soul level, this is either going to be a person or it's going to be you. Really nice card to have here because it's very, very secure. I mean, we need all the elements, Aquarius, okay? If we haven't got the earth element, we really are pretty in a bad situation, yeah? And I'm not talking about... I'm talking about having enough, which is the Four of Wands, by the way. There's a lot of your energy here that's very secure, very stable. And I think a lot of you have obviously been going through quite a lot recently. Everyone has. But there's a feeling of coming to the opposite side. Now, this could be a person. It'd be an earth sign person, if it is, who's obviously very important. But I sort of beginning to feel this is about you. It's with the Nine of Pentacles, so it could be a Virgo. If not, this is about... There's almost a pause where you're going to have the opportunity to begin to enjoy the fruits of your labour. The Nine of Pentacles is a card, again, it's very much like the Hermit card, just celebrating life for what it is. So very, very much being in the present moment, enjoying nature, slowing everything down in order just to be. Because you know what, Aquarius, one of the myths is that's what we're growing into. We're going to become a species that remembers that it's good to be alive. And I'm not saying we haven't got things to work through, Aquarius, but if you see that's where we're headed, that we're going to remember our beingness, our connection, and learn to have these sacred pause, this downtime, and start to bring that into your life now, then life and the quality of life just grows so much more. It's a little bit like the Empress energy. Now, the Justice card and the Ace of Swords. The Justice card is harvest time, okay? Now, because of the cards showing up here, there's a lot of harvesting good things, coming out of struggle, coming out of separation, landing in some new chapter in your finances, and a lot of celebration, and an awful lot of stability. And that's what the Justice card represents. So all the work's been done, and how you get just to be in relationship, really, because this shows Libra, this shows connection, this shows clarity, it rules clear-sightedness, it rules grace, all those things that right relationship. But Libra rules peace, and there's a lot of cards in this reading about Aquarius being at peace. Now, And by the looks of, especially having these cards and this, it looks like there's been some great work that's happened here to get you to this space. Because the universe doesn't give away its gifts just like that. You've obviously been in struggle. You've obviously, a lot of you have made some sort of shift or some sort of change. And even though faith, the star card's still a little bit of an issue, as is transparency, as in trusting. If I open myself up to life, I am going to be safe and I'm going to be protected. Always a hard one. We're so conditioned to fear. And that's why a lot of us don't make the changes our soul requires. This is about change. This is about openness. And I really, really hope the outcome of this is this. Yeah, look, clarified with the fishies. So the Justice card, Libra, grace, clarity with the fishies. So the fishies rule prosperity. Prosperity, one side of prosperity is money. Prosperity is obviously health, which I think we've all learnt. Prosperity is about our relationships. Prosperity is about peacefulness within. And harvesting all, maybe you were doing some shadow work, some overcoming work. And this is about harvesting the peace. And I want you to enjoy it, Aquarius. I want you to embrace it, to enjoy it, to bring it into you. And just to allow yourself to feel this happiness. Is one thing. So obviously the sun will be in Virgo. That's our 8th house. The 8th house is about intimacy. I find the star card, a lot of people don't read the star card that way, but I find the star card very much is about intimacy. Intimacy, yeah? The 8th house rules the it's about sexuality, it's about our relationships with others, about putting down our boundaries, putting down our barriers, and healing the divide between us. The theme is very, very clear that there's something maybe going on, so I call it that sort of interconnected field. And that seems to be where a lot of barriers want to come down, and a lot of openness and transparency and sharing wants to happen. It's a beautiful reading, Aquarius. Listen, I've got a new website. The links are underneath. That's my 4 of Wands, by the way. That's what I've been doing the last few months, and it's just now popping up. There's going to be a link to a Facebook page, but it's just to check things out. I do a lot of blogs, I do a lot of stuff. I'm going to start adding more to it as more people start to know it's there. And yeah, I might do weekly blogs about the astrology dynamics. Don't know what I'm going to do yet, but the link's underneath. And Aquarius is definitely an energy about harvest. Harvest. A lot of your good work, maybe your patience waiting for this night, is beginning to pay off. And the message at a soul level, the Nine of Pentacles doesn't worry about anything. The Knight of Pentacles is such a peaceful card, and so is the King of Pentacles. A bit like that lady. There's this energy of knowing that everything's been resolved. And just taking that pause just to enjoy your life. Okay, Aquarius, much love. Bye.